Okay, so this is where we kind of left off last class. If you remember some of this, I was talking about redeclaring variables and the blocks and creating inner blocks and outer blocks. Now, that's very exciting stuff. Again, it's just about using variables. And as you get more into specific programming, if you choose to do that, you're going to run into some issues where you might have to do some of this. How often do I do this? I don't really do it that often. It just depends on what you're writing, what the code is. But it's something you want to know that's there. The issue is if you see something in a program, here's the deal. You may, if you end up getting a job somewhere and you end up doing something like this, you may run into some strange looking code. And the idea is just so you have some background and some experience. Because if you go for a job and they ask you a question, so have you ever worked with this? Have you ever worked with that? You can say, well, I've got experience in this. I've seen this. I haven't done it all the time, things like that. Even if you've seen it in school and not on another job, because they know that you're going to be green and that you're going to be doing a lot, some of this for the first time. But if you've been trained and you can see it, most places, most employers are fine with that. And again, I know you guys are just sophomores, but it's going to go like this. Trust me, it's going to go really fast. But enjoy it, right? How many of you? Let me pause this. Let's record this again. And all right. So, like I said, how often do you do this? It depends. The idea is that you just understand what's going on. That is a lot of this. It's giving you tools in your toolbox to understand scopes, variables, all that kind of stuff, okay? We talked about this yesterday, redeclaring variables. Not yesterday, the last class, overrides. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of things. We're going to have some methods here. Like what? Yeah. So we have an override. Let's do this. So overloading a method. What does that even mean? Overloading a method. So you can have different methods like we had. So we're here. Again, remember what a method is? This is a method, my main method here. But if I go to create spa services or spa services, these are different methods, right? Set service description, that's a method. Set price, that's a method. Get service description. These are all methods, and I just created them out of thin air. Okay, those are all different methods. So what this is talking about is you do something where you overload it. Again, the idea behind object-oriented programming is I can use one thing and I can do multiple things with it. I'm not stuck with that architecture. I can do different things with it. That's the nice thing about it. That's the beauty of it. And that's what they're talking about here is I can use one term to indicate diverse meanings. Okay? I can write multiple methods with the same name but with different arguments. Again, why would you want to do that? Because basically it's doing the same thing, but sometimes I want to maybe allow someone to do a little bit more with it. Okay? Until we get into it, you'll see. In Java, the compiler understands that, so it's not a big deal. So I'm going to show you something. So you have a method here. Let's see, does it show you? And it'll show you there. We're going to do this. All right. So we're going to have a method here that you're going to talk about. So here's a method called calculate interest, right? How many parameters does it have? 2, right? Balance and rate. So balance is a double and rate is a double. What's that? So it has 2 parameters there, okay? 2 arguments in there, and it does a little calculation, all right? Now, what you can do is you can have one version of it, is what they're talking about. I'm kind of going through some of this fast because PowerPoints are very boring. So they show you, again, simple method. I was hoping they would show me this, but I'm not going to show you. Okay, so we're just going to work through it. I'm going to tell you what. Let's just do that. We're going to write some code because I think it's easier to explain than if we so let's do this. What we're going to do is I'm going to work on page 197 in the book about overloading. Let's do that. Because again, I think it's easier to write code. And I'll explain it as we're going so it makes more sense to you. But I think as we're writing it, it'll probably be easier. File and file place? What? Oh. Okay. So I'm going to copy my comments here. I'm going to do a new program, file, new Java. This is going to be an overloading method. It's going to be called demo overload. Not demo overload. The overload. All right, so this is still unit 4. This is demo over load, like so. Okay, and then today is 3.6, like so, 3.6, like so. Okay, so public class. Well, we gotta do the class first, right? Gotta do the class first, and then over, just do the open curly and the close curly. Okay, oops, went too far. Then we'll do that, right? Then we'll do the public static. And I might type a little bit faster just for sake of time. It's still cold over here, but it's not as cold as it was last class. There's a rumor it might get up into the 40s by the weekend, huh? That's why it's a rumor. We've seen some rain and some warm weather to clean all that salt, and it's just, everything's white. All right, let's save this. And it's saving to my usual area, and it's demo overload, and I'm going to save it, and mine's going to overwrite. I have it. All right. Okay. Once we start doing this, you'll see what I mean. I think that's why I think this one is the easiest if I just show you. Just do it together. One of these you do it. Okay. All right. So in the public static void main, they're going to have us call some methods, which again, I don't like calling them methods because we haven't created them yet, but that's what they're going to do. So well, you can call them and you can comment them out if you want. But so first we're going to create variable integer month. So int month. We're going to put it on the same line. So month is going to equal 6. You can do a comma. Day is equal to 24. Comma. And year is equal to, let's say, 2019. Even though that's not what the book says. All right. Again, I can do that. I can also declare it line by line. Some people like to do it line by line, but this one you can just do it in one line like so, which is fine. So they're all integers and they're all initialized variables. This is probably the first time we've done it this way. All right, now we're going to be calling a method that we have not created yet, and it's to be display, and then they're calling it date. Okay, we're going to be passing it parameters. Okay, first one is going to be, we're going to do 3 times. It's going to be called, that's what I call an overloaded method. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to pass it what? Month. So we're going to pass it month. Shazam. Guess what? We're going to copy and we're going to paste and we're going to do month. And the second one is, you guessed it. Gee, what's the third one going to be? Year. You got it. Shazam. Here. Okay. So right away you're like, wait a second, this is one method, but I'm doing 3 different arguments. So I can't have the same method name with 3 different arguments. And then again, it's called an overloaded method. You can do this, and programmers do this stuff all the time. Now, if I compile this, I should get an error because it's going to tell me I'm calling methods that don't exist, which we know. And that was what I was telling you before, is sometimes you like to comment it out. This is a short program, so we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to do that. Okay, so we'll do that, display. All right, so then all we're going to do is we're going to create these methods. Now make sure you do them outside of the main. So you go to the end of that curly brace, but inside the class. It has to be inside the class still. Okay, so they're all still part of the same class. So I'm going to call, these are all going to be static. They're not going to return anything because all they're going to do is just spit information out. So ready? So it's public static void. This one's going to be called display date. In fact, they'll all be called display date. So the first one is going to take 1 parameter. And month is just an int. And they're going to use mm for that. Remember, you can do whatever you want. If you want to say month, you can say month. Open curly, close curly. Okay? So we're going to set the first one up and make sure it works and everything's cool. And then we'll do the other, we'll just copy and paste. So this is actually a pretty quick one. So event date is quote, and then we're going to do So mm is what got passed in. That's my parameter, mm. And then I'm going to hard code some data, which you normally never do, but for the example, it's fine. And it's going to be /1/ I'm going to say 2019. Like so. Okay. We can try and compile it again. And it's still going to give me an error. It's giving me an error on the second one because the second one's not created yet. I created the first one, but I didn't create the second one. So that's fine. So we're just going to have to create all three right now. Now what you can do if you're paranoid, and I've done this before, I was telling you about this, just comment these out. You don't have to do this. You can comment that out, compile it, and make sure the code that you wrote works. And it does. So I commented those out and it came up. Okay. So now I'm going to put that back. Like so. All right. So now we're going to do the other two more. So I'm going to copy this. We're going to make another one. Everything stays the same except this time, guess what? Now I'm going to do a second parameter, and this will be dd. It's an int again, dd. And then I'm going to come down here, I'm going to change this. And now I'm going to add a slash, because it's a date, plus. And then this time I'm going to get rid of the day, like that. Oh, I forgot the date, plus d plus. Yeah, I know there's a lot of quotes and pluses and all that. So indent date plus, then it does a slash plus dd plus. So it's passing a second parameter. Oh, not 219. Did I do that? I mistyped that one too. Nobody yelled at me. No, it's not. It really isn't. I'm doing the best I can. All right, last one. dd. 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 Okay, last one. And this is going to be, guess what? Int yy, right? Yep. Event date is there. So actually you're going to do this, and you're just going to say plus yy. Like so. So the first one, you've got just the month. Second one, you've got month and day. Third one, you've got all three of them. Okay? And that's really it. Make it a little bit smaller so you can see it better there. Normally I would have comments in there, things like that. Why am I doing it this way? Just so that someone, again, think about this. You're not just writing programs for yourself. Again, you're writing them for other people too. So if someone else comes in and looks at your code, they can say, well, why the heck did they do 3 methods? Why? And then you write something, explain it. Because otherwise what they got to do is they got to go track you down. You might not work there anymore, or you might not be around, and to find out. It's so much easier. Write a comment in here. Why am I doing three overloads? I don't know. You know, just whatever, for whatever reason you're doing it. Always put comments in there. And then I can call it display date, month, day, year. So then if we run it, and you can play with it. Let's clear it. Clear that. Let's compile it. And let's run it. And it's very exciting. So we get 6/1/2019. Let's see if it worked. So the first one it should do is the month, which is 6. And that was here, so that's 6. That's correct. And then it did 1. So this was hard coded there. So that was that first line. Then the next one it did should have been 6/24, which it did. 6/24, and then that. And the third one again. Well, now if you want to make sure that it works, which you could do, because up here I have 2019. All right, hold on one second here. I gotta. So what I might do is, just to make sure it's the right one, is you could do something like this. You could just change these dates to say like, I don't know, 18, whatever. Then you know for sure it changed. So I'm gonna do that. Change that to 18. Recompile it. Rerun it. All right, so there you go. 6/1/2018 is the first one. That worked down there. There it is. Next one, 6/24. 6 and 24 came in. There's the 6, there's the 24, it's 2018. And the third one, it changed the year. Okay? So, again, I know it's not terribly exciting, but that's the basics of it. That's how you overload an argument. That's it. Again, these are all named the same. They're the same. They're all static voids. They're all the same type. All that kind of stuff is all the same. So, any questions on that? The question is, I'll record it. It's called ambiguity. So right now I'm going to comment these other ones out. I'm not going to call those right now. I'm going to leave those like that. And all I'm going to do is call the first one. Okay? And it's just one parameter. All right? So let me compile it and I'll run it just to make sure it's okay. I mean, if you want to make changes, you can go back. So right now it works. 6/1/2018 is what comes out, and that's what should come out. All right? What am I passing in? I'm passing in an integer, right? Int right there. What if I did this? I'm going to copy this and make a copy right below it. And I'm going to change the int. I can do that. I'm going to change that to a double. Okay? I'm going to see what happens. So I've got the same method name, both here and here, but I actually, what I did was, I changed the parameter inside. Let's see, will this compile? Is it going to give me a different error? So it compiled. So logically, it says, you're cool. Everything's cool. It's hunky-dory. This'll work. Now, if I run this, what's going to happen? Let's clear this out down here. Let's run this and see what happens. I don't have an issue. Oh, because it's double. That's right. Ah, my mistake. Let's try this instead. If I do instead do double, I'll do this. Let me go string. Let's try that again. So that worked that way, and then if I do it this way, no, it still converted it. That's interesting. It still took it that way. All right, well, it doesn't give me an error. It still takes it through there, but the issue is I want you to understand is you will not necessarily get an error for this, if at all. But what it does is when you do this, it creates what's called an ambiguous situation. Because what it does is it doesn't know which one to call. Record. So we're going to do File, New, Java. I'm going to clear this down here. I'm going to make this smaller. Oh, I'm going to get rid of some of these files here. Okay. So there's a new one. Oh, I'm going to copy my comments. Copy my comments there. This is again Unit 4. This one is going to be called Car Insurance Policy. Which, how many of you drive? Not yet? You're getting there though, right? You guys are getting your license? Don't you guys have driver's ed? Not yet. When does that? When do you get that? You got driver's ed? Yeah. You're getting there. So you don't get it through school? Really? I am recording this, just so you know. Your school is great. What? Okay. All right. Let's do public class car insurance. We are not hurdling tables. Okay, car insurance policy. Open curly. And what we're going to do is create constructors. Okay? It kind of shows you in the book. All right, so public class car insurance policy. Okay? So I'm going to save this. Car insurance policy. I'm going to save it. I'm going to overwrite my file. All right. So we're going to start with that. Okay? Okay, now that brace is at the bottom, so we're going to do this. So we're going to create what we call constructors. Okay, we've kind of been doing some of this. I don't formally have that name. So first we're going to create some variables that we're going to use within this class. We're going to call them private. They're going to be private to this class. We talked about some of that. So private int, and we're going to do policy number. Okay, private int, another integer. This one's num payments, so the number of payments. And then private string city. Oh, resident city, sorry. Private string resident city. Again, I can call them whatever I want. They're variables I can use. Again, private means they're private to this class. That's the whole idea behind it, to the car insurance policy class. Okay? Now we're going to create some constructors that are going to use these fields. All right? And we're going to use them with overloading. So we're going to do a first one. First method, public. Car insurance policy. We're going to do 3 parameters. Int. It's a num. Guess what? That's for policy number, right? What's the second one? Int payments. Okay, I think these are, as you can tell, the variables are kind of self-explanatory what they are, which is good. That's what you want. And then string, remember string was with a capital S, and that's city. Okay? Open curly, close curly. So here's one constructor. I'm passing 3 variables, 3 in this method, 3 parameters. Integer, integer, and a string. Remember when you call it, you have to call it also sending the same thing, integer, integer, string. If you flip them, if you flip-flop any of them, it'll give you errors. You'll have problems. You just got to remember that. Okay, so policy number, which is up here, outside in your class, is going to be set equal to what? Num, the first parameter. This is kind of like getters and setters that we were doing before. Okay, the next one. Num payments. What's num payments going to equal? Num payments is going to equal the second argument. Hold on, messed myself up here. Unlock. I missed my thing. Hit the insert, and that's payments. Okay. And then finally, the last one is the resident city. What is that one? Now we're not going to have to type all these out because we're going to do some copy and pasting again. And then city. So this one should go fairly quick. And then I'll let you guys work, okay? So city. So the num, these are all the parameters that are coming in. Num, payments, and city are on the right side here. And then on the left side are the ones from up here. That's it. So that's that method. So we've created one method. But the idea is you're selling these agencies, you're creating this program for this insurance company that's selling policies. It's very exciting. But the idea is potentially they may just sell policies in a certain city. So they want you to create another constructor. And this time they're going to have you use the city of Mayfield. It will always be hard-coded in there. Okay? So in the second one, you're going to get rid of the city argument parameter. Because it's always going to be, everything else is going to stay the same. Guess what? This is how hard this is. You just copy and paste it, and this one's going to be Mayfield. Okay? Because this policy, when it calls it, it's always going to, so when they call this policy, it's only going to be Mayfield policies. Okay? And then finally, the last one is, they say, the third constructor requires only a policy number. Okay? Because it uses the default of 2 annual payments. So by default payments, I don't know if you're aware when you pay insurance, normally you can either pay it all at one time for the year, or sometimes most companies will do 2 payments. So it's every 6 months. So that's the only reason why that came up like that. So I'm going to copy this whole thing again. I'm going to copy the second one. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. This time I'm getting rid of the second parameter, because this is a policy number, and then I'm going to come down here, and instead of payments, it's going to be the hard-coded number 2. All right, so you should have something like that. It's a display method. Again, we're all still in the same class here, and this one's going to be called public void, because I'm not returning anything, void display. No parameters either. Open curly, close curly. And then all you're going to do is just going to print out some information, system.out and we're going to do a little shortcut here, print line. So let's say policy number is what? Is now if you don't remember, just copy and paste the number. So policy number is policy number. Boom, policy number. Okay. So they do policy number, they have you do all this stuff. Let's see, let's do plus. You know what we can do? Let's do this. I'm gonna make it really easy. We're gonna do this. Policy number, because they have a big long sentence. I don't like that. Do another one. System.out.println. This time it's going to be the car payments. So number of payments. So number pound of payments. Pound sign. Quote. Plus. And then this one will be num payments. Copy and paste. There you go. Same thing. And then finally. And this is the city. Driver resides, lives. Why did he reside? Lives in. Where does the driver live? The driver lives residence city. Okay. Residence city, like so. That's it. Okay. So I've got this method. I've got the 3 methods for the car insurance policy, and then I've got a method for that for that one. Hey. Okay. Recording again. So this one will be called create policies, like so. And then public, static, void main, string, args. Oh, you're making me hungry. I had a grilled cheese before I came. All right, let me save this. And saved as create policies. Mine's going to overwrite again, like so. Okay, so we're good there. And again, if you really want to, you can compile this. It should compile. This one should compile. Yep. This one could run too. It's not doing anything, but you can run this one. Remember, I can run this. There's nothing going on. All right. Okay. So all we're going to do is we're going to create these policies and then use the display to spit out the information. We're going to use those methods. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the class called the class name. What's the class name? Class is car insurance policy. There's your class, right? So car insurance policy, just copy and paste it. You don't have to retype it. And then we're going to use the very exciting policy of first. Equals new. Paste car insurance policy. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set these up. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to pass 1 parameter, then 2 parameters, then 3 parameters, right? So they want you to do what? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this. I'll give it a little space here. Didn't want to do this. Okay. So this will be second. Now this will have the one. This will be 4, 5, 6. They want to make it different. So this will be 2 parameters, 4, 5, 6. So that's the policy number. And then the second parameter is the number of payments. Okay. What do they use? Default is, remember default payments are 2. So we're going to put 4 in there just to make sure it changes. Okay. And then finally, the last piece de resistance, boom, is third. And this is 3 parameters. This one's going to be 7, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9. This will be 12. How many of you watch Game of Thrones? Is it really? That's all I can hear about. They keep talking about it. And then you call it Newcastle. I've only seen parts of it. Yeah. I don't like violence like that. It's okay. It depends. No, I will. It just depends. I like action. I like the Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Transformers, all that kind of stuff. Waiting for Captain Marvel to come out. Endgame to come out in April. I'm trying to see it on Friday. We'll see. Did he? That's right. Okay, so all I did was create these policies. So I called it, and it's going to create. So first, second, and third. So it's going to do, it's going to create all these. What does that mean when it does this? So it creates the first new instance of this policy, and it passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what it's doing is it's calling, so parameter one parameter, go look at the class. It does this. It's doing this. It's going to set this up. So the first one, you should get a num. You should get what? 1, 2, 3. This is what you want to do. You want to see, make sure. So you should get 1, 2, 3, and then what? 2 payments, and then Mayfield, right? So let's just see if this works. So now what we're going to do is we're going to call another method in here, the display method that we created, and that's going to give us all that information that we have right there. And all you got to do is do what? First, which is this one. First, yep, dot what? Display. That's it. And then again, you can copy and paste if you want. I can. And then third, so this will be second. And if it's faster to type, feel free to do that. Like so. I'm going to compile this to make sure this works. And remember, in order to use the first class, you have to compile it. Okay? Otherwise, it'll say, I can't find it. So I've got that. Now I'm going to run it. I'm going to see what happens. All right. Let's move it up a little bit here.